Welcome back to Melodic Memories of a Light's Monarch. I'm Casey, and yes, back with another episode today to talk about, first and foremost, my trip to go see Fall Out Boy in Calgary for the Cowboys festival. It's something that they have during the Calgary Stampede. I personally have never been until now, so I had no idea what I was getting into. And to be honest, it actually exceeded my expectations, not only Fall Out Boy's performance, but also the entire festival as a whole, as I didn't really realize when I bought the tickets for a festival that it was going to be a proper festival. I had no idea. And I know that sounds silly, kind of stupid, you should know better, but all I was concerned about, truly, was seeing Fall Out Boy. And they were actually killer. I'll get into more on that soon, but I have to say, it is so fitting, so fitting, and fulfilling too, that I've finally been able to actually see them. I know it sounds silly, but they were and probably are. I was trying to think about it even more so leading up to recording this, but I couldn't think of any other bands that when I was a teenager, I was dying to see. That bucket list kind of band, the ones that you wish you could see, the ones that saved your life or helped you save your life, these ones are mine. And I've finally been able to see every single one of them, except for Panic at the Disco. And that one's coming up later this year. So technically, I am going to actually fulfill that whole bucket list. And I gotta say, it is wild to me that I'm able to do so, because I never once thought I could. Being a small town, born and raised kid, I never once thought, just for where I was at, so secluded from the world, that I'd ever be able to see all these artists. And I know, yes, I had to travel for MCR, I had to travel for Paramore, but even Black Veil Brides, they came to Edmonton, and yes, that's still traveling technically, but to me, it's what I'm used to. It's only 4.5 hours, and that might sound like craziness to some people, but it be what it be. When you want to go see these bands, you're going to go see them regardless of the distance, right? And Fall Out Boy was one of the last few, and they came to my backyard. Not realistically, it was still a 7-hour drive, maybe 7.5 to get to Calgary from here. But in the grand scheme of things, if you will, that is my backyard. I never would have once expected them to come to Calgary, of all places, especially for the Stampede. What an interesting place to choose. They must have gotten reached out to, I would have to assume, because I don't think that they would have thought, yo, let's go play the Stampede, unless if they were alluding to wanting to do something like that because of their So Much for Stardust music video, which I personally hated. I thought it made the music itself, the song, I thought it just kind of downplayed the song. I know that's a different discussion. It's a music video. It doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but with how they came out the gates, just swinging with that first music video, I don't understand how they came back with the big grand So Much for Stardust title track, the one that sounds like an orchestra, like a movie soundtrack, how they came back with that and decided to use some sort of cowboy weird. It's just very weird. But I personally was shocked that they came to Calgary, ramblings aside, and the actual show was insane. So let me get to the actual trip here. Me and Logan and I, we both left together. He's my roommate. Shout out to him. Love you, man. We left to Calgary early in the morning around 6 a.m. And we ended up getting to Calgary probably around 2 o'clock. So it was a long drive, but we listened to Fall Out Boy, their entire discography, as I have a playlist for them on my Spotify. If anyone's interested, it is in my link tree. I have a link to my Spotify account with all these playlists for all these bands. Just discographies that I put together myself because I am that kind of person. I like listening to things from the very first release all the way to the newest release because it's just so fulfilling and, again, fitting, especially for this trip. Finally seeing Fall Out Boy, I knew that I had to do the discography dive, and Logan, knowing that he knows some Fall Out Boy, but not all of it, not nearly as much as I do, it was just, again, fitting. I had to do it. And we didn't even finish it on the way down. It was a very smooth trip all the way down there. with just some like stops here and there for bathroom, normal things, a road trip. And we actually ended up getting only to I think a few songs left on Make America Psycho Again, their remix album for American Beauty, American Psycho, which a lot of people apparently don't know exist, or if they know exist, they don't like it at all. I personally think it's not too bad. It was actually the very first Fall Out Boy thing I could say I was a fan to be a part of, which I know is like kind of unfortunate, to be honest, but it is what it is. I didn't get to choose that. I just vividly remember going to their website and seeing that they had something on the way and me being excited, finding out what it was and being disappointed. Because I thought it was going to be new music and I thought it was going to be something more akin to country things, which is funny to say this because they were playing at Cowboys, but they actually had on their website for the promotion for this remix album a bull rider. And I don't know any bull riders that would have been listening to that, getting ready and pumped up to get on a bull. Because I was a bull rider at one point in my life, and I could ask my brothers. They've bull rode before too. I don't think that would be their soundtrack. But hey, each to their own. If there's a bull rider out there, hit me up. I would love to hear your thoughts. All the same, though, for us, the trip, we got to that point. We got to Montana's place and stayed, which is where we were staying. My friend Montana, I went to actually go see Taylor Swift with her last year. Hell yeah. She let us stay and just, place to sleep, slept on the couch. It was great. But she ended up coming with us, which was completely out of the plan. We did not know that she was coming with us. But it ended up making such a great show, because before the actual show started, gates opened at 5. We went downtown, seen some of the festivities, didn't go to the Stampede, which I will be planning to go next year, I do believe. I think my sister wants to make some plans, which hell yeah, it would be a hell of a time. But we ended up having some sandwiches at this local sandwich joint in Calgary. If I remembered the name, I would totally shout them out. So if I find it, it will be in my social post because their sandwiches are amazing. And it is a very small place. Not many people in there, not much traffic, but like they make amazing food. And it's more than just sandwiches. It's just that's what we all got. And it was delicious. Logan actually went there when he was there for Calgary Expo. And exact same, like just as delicious as the last time, apparently so. So I gotta say, I got the Dagwood, and it was great. So if anyone's going there, definitely go try it out. I will again leave it in the description of this episode. If you're at all interested, no sponsorship, of course. God, it would be cool if they did, because I would love free sandwiches, but still. We got to go after that back to her place, and then took an Uber out to the Stampede grounds, or not so much the Stampede grounds, but the Cowboy Festival tent. And that's what I originally thought it was. I thought it was just the tent. I could go in and stand there like you do for a regular show. But no, apparently it wasn't. It was actually a full-on festival. Granted, a lot smaller than something like When We Were Young Fest, but more akin to Grizz Fest. If anyone knows what that is, it's a festival that used to be held in Tumbler Ridge, if I'm not mistaken, BC. And it is a beautiful festival. It's not currently going anymore, but it reminded me of it all the same. And the Cowboys Festival. Now, we got there a little bit late, a little bit after 5 o'clock, and there was a huge lineup, like down to the other block kind of thing. And that lineup, we thought we'd be waiting for a long time, so they went and got drinks out of the No Frills that was right on the corner. Nah, that lineup was so fast, I was at the front waiting for them. I was like, come on, guys. So much so to the point where we had to pour out the waters and Powerade that Logan bought. And unfortunately, we poured out the water. We drank most of it, but the Powerade, he gave it back to us and it was sealed. So I just threw it back in our bag and left. Never got stopped, never got checked. I mean, it's Powerade. What are you going to do? It for those that don't know, if Powerade's Canadian for some reason, and that's something I don't know, it's the same as Gatorade, to my knowledge, just a sports, drink. But I found it weird that we are able to get through that lineup so quickly. They were just shuffling people through. And that's when I found out that, oh, wait, Fall Out Boy doesn't actually get on stage till like 10:30. because we asked one of the ladies when we got in. Yeah, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And it was like, really? Okay, so I was starting to slowly figure out this is a full day thing. I had no idea. I originally thought, like I said, it was just a show essentially for people to go experience the Stampede, the actual rodeo, or fair, whatever they choose to do with their day. And then by the time things are winding down there, they come over here to see Fall Out Boy, like to end the night, you know? But I guess that wasn't the case. Maybe some people did that, but again, gates opened at 5, and there was actually a lot to do. There was food trucks, there was actual smoke pits for cigarette smokers, and of course, something that actually caught me off guard, we're living in the future now, there was actually a smoke pit for weed, for cannabis. It was nuts. Value Buds had their own little truck set up where you could buy weed and then go right in the little hole in the wall, essentially, to a spot where you can sit and just toke up for the show. It was so chill, so many good vibes, not gonna lie, and that's exactly what we did. I mean, fellow stoners, it was a good way to pass the time while also listening to the songs because you could hear them from the tent, which wasn't too far off. It was really just perfect. The perfect kind of vibe for a festival that I've ever had, because usually if someone wants to smoke, they either have to go in the crowd with, like, you know, with the hopes of not getting caught, or into the smoke pit with the cigarette smokers, and it's not the most enjoyable if you yourself don't want to smoke cigarettes. And me personally, with my history of smoking, I wasn't really about that. But anyways, to kind of fast track a little bit, we ended up watching the show after getting high. Had some shaved ice as well from the Skip truck, Skip the Dishes, mind you. And they were giving it away for free, so why not? Of course, it was so hot that day, literally like plus 30. I was wearing my Fall Out Boy shirt, the black one that came with the CD for So Much for Stardust. Or not the CD, the vinyl, I think is what I ordered with it. Regardless, it came in a box. And the pants were completely black, obviously, black skinny jeans. Gotta fit the emo vibe, like, hello, it's Fall Out Boy. And I was wearing my black hat, which says Spread Love on it. And I will tell you, I was so sweaty, not just standing there, but after the show, throughout, I was cooking. But I wasn't going to let it bring me down. No. It was Fall Out Boy. You gotta look the part. Hello? This ain't a scene, it's a goddamn arms race. Anyways, I also bought a Fall Out Boy hat, the So Much for Tour Dust hat. Amazing hat. I'm actually kind of obsessed with it. I really love it. And I believe Logan got the This Ain't a Scene t-shirt, which has Franklin on the back, and it says This Ain't a Scene, Fall Out Boy on the front. If I'm not mistaken, it's a blue shirt. Very nice shirt. It was actually the shirt that I was going to go for, but the hat, I just couldn't pass it up, because I even said that I hope they have a hat, because I'd love to get one. I already have a t-shirt, and the hoodie, if they have a nice one, I would like to get, but I know they're always expensive. Regardless, I got a hat, and then, yes, we went down to the actual tent itself and kind of stayed put until Fall Out Boy came on. I mean, we went and got food, we went and used the washrooms, but again, just normal things that you do at a festival. And then by the time the band came on, because there were cover artists that were playing, one band, I believe, were called Stonegate, and they were interesting. They ended up playing a screamo rock cover that isn't out yet. They said it's coming out on their new album. He ended up playing a rock screamo cover of Without Me by Eminem. Yeah, very strange, very different, very weird, but I can't lie, it actually kind of went hard. It caught me so off guard, and it's not currently out, but when it does come out, I'll let everyone know, because it's something that people need to kind of experience for themselves to really get the gist of it, because, yeah, I've never heard anyone do that before. It was a highlight, that's for sure. I'm not going to say it was amazing, but it was something to see. And then another girl came on stage. I can't remember her band, unfortunately, but these bands that started the show were just cover bands until the band Little Image came up on. They got up on stage and they were the openers, if you will, for Fall Out Boy. They played around like 8:30, or maybe it was 9:30. Regardless, they played before and they only played about an hour. They are a smaller band from Texas. I didn't super enjoy their whole set. I thought they were good, but as Montana was telling me in the crowd while we were watching them, they just kind of sounded like a Palais Royale wannabe. And that's not to try to deter them from making music or deter anyone from listening to them. If you want to listen and are curious, go check out them for yourself. Novocaine would be the one I personally recommend. I know Logan's been listening to it himself as well, but to me, it sounded like they haven't fully found themselves yet in their sound. So it'll be curious to see how much they evolve over time. But when they were off stage, Fall Out Boy obviously got on stage, and I have to say, the roar of the crowd was wild. It got so loud with that whole crowd just screaming because they were starting to get on stage. And at this point, I was alone in the crowd. Montana and Logan left to go take a seat. They were going to go sit on the grass, and I didn't think they were coming back, which, spoiler alert, they actually did. Surprised me, caught me completely off guard. I did not expect that. But Fall Out Boy, when they got on stage, I was completely alone and ready. Even though I was alone, I was so ready because moments before that, it kind of clicked. I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to be seeing Fall Out Boy. They're going to be up here on stage in front of my stupid face. Holy shit. Like, it caught me off guard so much and actually made me stop and think for a moment. Like, whoa. So their set list, I have to say, because it was a legendary set list, they did greatest hits for certain, along with some that I was actually surprised about. But let me start with their first song. The show opener was Love from the Other Side. Into Sugar We're Going Down, then Grand Theft Autumn, Where Is Your Boy, then A Little Less 16 Candles, A Little More Touch Me, then The Phoenix, Disloyal Order of Water Buffaloes, Thriller, Uma Thurman, Dance Dance, Immortals, The Kids Aren't Alright, This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race, I Don't Care, My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark, Light 'Em Up, The Last of the Real Ones, What a Catch Donnie, which was just a partial piano medley, which I was so shocked to hear that. Oh my God. Like, Patrick was just kind of talking there for a moment, and then I heard the melody, and I was like, there is no way that they're playing, no way. And then sure enough, they fucking did. Patrick Stump. My guy. Because then after that, it went into Golden. Like, he started What a Catch Donnie, the partial piano medley, into Golden, which was also, like, just a part of it. The two songs that will literally take your heart, rip it out of your chest, and chew on it and spit it out. Like, I was in tears. I wasn't crying my eyes out, but I teared up. Not gonna lie at all. Then they went into So Much for Stardust, into Fake Out, which that one caught me off guard too, along with The Kids Aren't Alright. But Fake Out, I was like, no way. They're playing this from their new album. I did not think that song got that successful, or it's just one that they were trying out. I don't know, but I was happy it was there. Then Thanks for the Memories, Headfirst Slide into Cooperstown on a Bad Bet. A little bit of a mouthful, sorry for struggling there, but it was the Magic 8-Ball song. I was happy to hear that one. Logan and I personally wanted Young and Menace just for the simple fact that we know how bad it is. We love the song, but we know that I believe I showed him years ago the Jimmy Kimmel performance. I believe that's what it was. If not, it was Jimmy Fallon. But they played it live when it first came out, and it was around the build-up to Mania. And the sounds of the song, the actual, like, EDM parts, if you will, I don't even know what to call it. Again, apologies for my bad terminology, but there were parts of the song that sound like they're electronics. He actually used his voice for. So we were hoping to hear that live because it would have been legendary. And again, it's the song that the two of us like the most mutually. Like, we both have love for it, so it would have been just so fun. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but we did get, again, Head First Slide into Cooperstown on a Bad Bet. I didn't even think we were gonna get a Magic 8 Ball song. I didn't know they were still doing that, but apparently this was a part of their tour, so hell yeah. Hell yeah. I was very happy. Anyways, then they went into Centuries, which I looked at Logan after, like, it was dead silence for a little bit and started going da 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 da, and I stopped. And then he turned around, and as soon as he turned around, looked at the stage, it started da 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 da, and then went right into Centuries. It was so fitting, and Logan looked back at me, jaw dropped, like, dude, and I'm like, hey man, I know that silence better than anybody here, like, for real. I knew it was coming. I thought they were gonna close the show with that, though. They actually ended up closing the show with Saturday. Now, to touch on the whole set list, I think it was very good, and I was actually curious to know what hearing It Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race like live, especially with that and scream until your lungs give out. Like, I was excited to hear that live, so excited, along with the very opening of Sugar We're Going Down. I couldn't wait. Like, there were so many songs here that I was excited to hear, and again, the ones that caught me the most off guard, I would have to say, would have been The Kids Aren't All Right, alongside the What a Catch Donnie and Golden piano medleys, and also Fake Out. But, and this is a big but, I looked at Logan on our ride down to Calgary and asked him, what are the odds that Pete Wentz still screams? Do you think I'll be able to get a live Pete Wentz scream at least once? Once in my life? For the first time seeing them, do you think he'll do it? And they closed with Saturday. And that song, Pete Wentz screams in. Sure fucking enough. They knew as soon as that part came on, the crowd went wild. Pete Wentz went right to the front of the stage and was actually held up by security guards so he didn't fall face first into the crowd, and just let out the scream. Oh, it was so good. It was so good to see it and actually hear that live. And honestly, with the fact of me seeing Fall Out Boy for the very first time, and I know that they have had past experience with maybe not sounding the best live, which I was honestly worried about, not gonna lie. Just knowing that their guitarist Joe was currently out of the band for at least the following year, like he's taken some time off, which good for him. I hope he gets better. And then Patrick Stump actually came out and said that he was sick because of his kids. He said that on stage. So the fact that they sounded so good wows me. They lived up to every expectation I had for Fall Out Boy ever in my life. I was very, 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 very happy. And honestly, that was the entire trip. We got to see them. It was amazing. And then the next day, we drove right home and got home around 3 o'clock. So we were up again early, around like 7 this time, to give us a little bit more time. But we ripped home, and that was the trip. I went and unpacked more in my room after I got home. Nothing too crazy. My room is almost set up. It's currently not fully done yet, but it was a hell of a time. I enjoyed myself. Logan enjoyed himself. And Montana, who isn't exactly much of an emo Fall Out Boy fan at all, she still really enjoyed herself too. And honestly, I think that in itself was so worth it. It was such a quick trip for a decent amount of distance, but I wouldn't have changed a single thing about it. I honestly, it was for days after the fact that I was still listening to nothing but Fall Out Boy. It wasn't actually until just today that I changed from Fall Out Boy to Black Veil, which I will get into, don't you worry. But I was listening to Fall Out Boy just on repeat over and over and over again, and it was hitting each and every time, because honestly, when I'm in a Fall Out Boy mood, nothing else hits the same. Now, to talk a little bit on how I said Black Veil, I've been listening to them. Now, in my last episode, I mentioned how they were doing the, stories on their Instagram, another trial. And this time around, since I haven't had the chance to actually post about it and talk about it, they've gone a lot further than this trial. So the trial ended on Friday, And if you answered correctly to all of the different questions, they actually gave us a teaser. Yeah. They gave us a teaser. And just today on Monday, as I'm recording this, they gave us another teaser, which was a little bit longer and had actual video to it. Now, Black Veil Brides, they're back currently. They posted on their socials that a new song called Hallelujah, Hallelujah that they're back, honestly. It has a special premiere on Octane come July 16th, which is the exact same day as my cat's birthday. Just a little tidbit for anyone that cares. Taro's going to be like 3 years old. But the teaser, oh my God, the teaser. Holy shit. Now, it sounds and looks incredibly insane, incredibly awesome, all the things. I could go on about it, honestly, but it was so short. And, it's the heaviest they've ever sounded. Andy, how are you screaming like that? And where was that all these years ago? Are you okay? Who hurt you? But no, truthfully, it was insane. And it is probably the heaviest they've ever sounded. I can't say it's the best they've ever sounded because, again, it's just a snippet. But the guitars, you can tell they are Jake, they are Jinx. You can tell Andy, it's his voice, it's his lyrics. And you can, like, everything is Black Veil. And that is my favorite part about it, because the closest we've got to that was Bleeders. And that's been a while now. Because other than Bleeders, we got My Friends, which again is a cover. And then we got the Sunday Bloody Sunday cover, again, a cover. Still amazing songs, amazing covers in their own right, but this is original Black Veil Brides music that we are finally getting. And it seems to be coming out this week. Again, July 16th, if you want to hear it early, comes out on Octane. And then it should be, if I'm not mistaken, as every other song kind of seems to do, comes out the next day. So I'm expecting July 17th. For us to have the new Black Veil Brides single called Hallelujah. And I did see the single artwork itself. Don't know if it was real. That's why I'm not sharing it on anything yet until it is official. But if that is the official drawing by Richard Villa, oh my God. It's also insane in its own right. And the music video, it isn't people, it isn't them, but it is an animated music video from what it seems. And even if the band shows up in it, cool. But if they don't, whatever. Like, it looks sick. Super angelic. It's going to be angels versus demons. Like, the way that this album has been building up ever since the first stories way back when I was talking about them, to the build-up of that documentary. Like, even then, and the iconography and imagery that they've been using just screams like heaven and hell. This is a war, battleground, which has kind of been consistent through their whole history. I mean, look at their name, Black Veil Brides. A nod to the Catholicism, like getting married to the church that the nuns do, right? They wear a black veil. They are the Black Veil Brides. Very fitting for where they came from. And this is just a little side theory. No, not in any way true yet. But it makes me wonder if this album is going to be connected to... I mean, it could be connected to all their other albums in one way or another, but specifically The Morning. The Morning EP, my favorite piece of work they've ever done. And I say that because I know The Morning EP was supposed to be The Phantom Tomorrow Part 2, which obviously got ripped away from us, probably due to their falling out with Sumerian Records, as Andy had said. In an interview, I believe he stated that they didn't get another In the End with Scarlet Cross. I mean, he wasn't... Granted, I should say this before like throwing anything under the bus and saying it for fact. This is just what I took from it, because the words that he used was, when you don't get another successful single in the sense that In the End was, then they want to work with you less. Or not exact words, but again, more akin to what he said. The way I took it personally was that, you know, Scarlet Cross did not do as well as In the End, even though it was like still doing crazy well. But it didn't do the numbers that Ash and Sumerian Records were hoping, and that's why they had the falling out. Again, just a theory. It's never been confirmed. Don't take my exact word for it, but I would have to say I must be close to the fact. Anyways, it makes me wonder if this is going to be a sequel to the Morning EP because it just seems a lot about revenge and sinning and the demonic angels and demons. It could be its own story. It could be just a rock record. We have no idea whatsoever. But with the imagery specifically, you look at the imagery of the morning and how it had the paragraph of text. It's even on I believe, the tag for the shirts. It has like this wall of text, and the imagery for the album artwork itself, or the EP artwork, comparing it to the way that they're kind of bringing everything up now, even with the merch, this coming video, it just screams like it's cut from the exact same cloth. So it makes me curious. I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to say that it is going to be the rest of it, but I hope it is something at least a similar in terms of like quality, because again, the morning is the best thing they've ever made in my opinion. And regardless if I like whatever's coming with Hallelujah, I don't care. I'm ready. And the fact that this is going to be the most authentic Black Veil Brides experience, not just this song, but this coming record, makes me incredibly excited. And I could not even say more. But the only thing I have left to say about it, actually, is the email that I got, which is how I found out the link to the video, the little video teaser. It goes as saying, "They worship the screen, the digital shrine, demanding purity while rotting inside. But I know the saints are all sinners with halos for show. The sins are forgotten the moment you let go. I pray for my failure. I beg for my blood. But heaven stays silent. The gates remain shut." Those are lyrics. We're in for an absolute treat. And there's no doubt about it. Black Veil Brides, give me your all. I, amongst the Black Veil Brides army, are ready. Now, the only other thing I kind of wanted to touch on, Superman, that has finally came out. James Gunn's Superman. I myself am a Snyder fan, but I am not just a Snyder fan. Don't get me wrong. I shouldn't come out the gate swinging. I just love the Snyder movies, but I personally grew up with comics from my dad, and I do adore Superman. He is my favorite hero. All of the Superman movies I have enjoyed, and I have to say, even though this new one wasn't my favorite, I did see it on Sunday, it is good. I have to say that. I'm not going to go into depth any more than that because it is a brand new movie. I'm not about spoilers. Maybe I'll talk about it in the coming weeks if it is still right to talk about it then. But I will have to say, go see it for yourself. If you like Superman, you're probably going to like it, to be honest. I mean, it is Superman. It is a very Superman kind of story, even if some things have been changed here and there. But again, not going to go any more in depth than that. I thought it was good for what it was. Then, obviously, my room, it is coming together little by little bit. And I think when I'm finally done it all, I kind of want to show it off because I'm proud with how it's coming. But it is still a little ways away. Now, I have to mention MCR, just very quickly. They started their tour, Long Live the Black Parade. It is started in Seattle, and it's currently going. But there's some controversy towards it. And again, it's the state of the world. I don't know why people are complaining. They obviously aren't MCR fans, or maybe they're fans that just want to get away from the world, because at least this is something that State of the Scene podcast, they posted this, and I had to share it because it kind of just made me scratch my head. Like, do you know My Chemical Romance? Have you ever listened to them? But he ended up saying, the State of the Scene said, per the Mirror, some fans are threatening to sell their tickets after My Chemical Romance's first performance on the Long Live the Black Parade tour. Fans cited the politically charged theatrical performance, which found political candidates executed on stage, deeming it woke, quote unquote. Now, one, I hate the word woke. Just straight up, I'll put that out there. I don't like how people just throw it around, but I'm not even going to get into that bag of things because that's a bag I do not want to sort through. Them Legos can stay sealed. But truly, the MCR thing, like, did you see the teasers that they had? How it was literally a dictator sitting down and wanting the band to come back and perform for him? Did you see all that build up? How they're building this kind of world towards it? Like, I know it was a rock opera and all these things kind of already existed in that world. They're just expanding it more. Like, maybe if this is your first time experiencing the Black Parade, I can give you some slack, cut you some slack. But I don't know. To me, it made sense. I haven't seen it myself, so apologies if it is a little more graphic than I'm thinking it is. But I will be seeing it when I go to Chicago at the end of the month or the end of August. And if I think anything weird of it, I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk about the show. So I don't know. For people that are worrying or anything about it, like, maybe you need to take a step back and listen to the lyrics, see the world that they created with the Black Parade, and kind of do some research, because I think you might be in the wrong. But again, it's all opinion. If that's not what you're going to MCR for, then that's not what you want from them. I get it. It is what it is. But I think before anyone just like dumps their tickets away, maybe step back and be like, yo, it's still MCR. You're going to enjoy it. They are performers through and through. So just my opinion, take a breath and just kind of take a step back. Now, I need to say some new releases. Again, I've been listening to Fall Out Boy literally on repeat, so I don't have much to talk about, but there are some new releases that have come out that personally, I have to say, I've been looking forward to, and I am going to get around to. And again, Black Veil, yes, I'm going to say it again, hallelujah, comes out July 16th on Octane, should be on streaming come July 17th. Hopefully that comes with an album announcement as well. If not, then we know it's coming. We just don't know when. So it'd be cool if they were like, yo, here are pre-orders. Maybe they'll wait till single 2. But again, that's just me theorizing and rambling. Apologies. For new releases, though, we actually got, and I have to start with the 2 that I've listened to because the rest I haven't heard yet. The Great Unknown by Ice Nine Kills and Creature in the Black Night by Dayseeker. And I bring these 2 up because they're the only 2 that I went out of my way to listen to because they're bands that I personally really enjoy. Now, I personally did not really enjoy these songs, and it's unfortunate to say that because the Ice Nine song sounds like it's AI generated, and I know that's kind of the shtick they're going towards with this album, but I have to ask why. Why would anyone go to their way to listen to this if that is the case, even if it is story related? Why would somebody go out of their way to listen to that song over anything from their previous albums, if not just to experience it for the first time and then say, cool, and then that's it? Personally, I didn't understand that, but that's just me. I did not like how it sounded like every other song they've done, but again, it's supposed to be story related. I just don't understand what the appeal is to going back to it after listening to it once. If anyone cares to share their opinion on it, please let me know at Lights Monarch on all socials. Same with Dayseeker. It didn't sound like AI, but it also did not sound like Dayseeker. It's definitely more synthy until the last minute of the song when the breakdown hits. Then the song sounded like Dayseeker and in my opinion was good. But I couldn't help but cringe at the fuck lyric. It just kind of sounds like he's wanting to make sex music, and that's fine. I know that there is a group of people out there for that. People that look for that kind of music. I personally don't, though. So for me, I'm going to have to see if this album is something I'm going to enjoy when it comes out, because it is in the works. Like Creature in the Black Night, it wasn't just the single that came out. It came out with the entire album announcement, which is also titled the same thing. So this was the title track. And the album itself comes out October 24th, 2025. Very curious to know how the rest of the album's going to sound, but again, I had to mention those 2 because I was actually kind of disappointed with both, and they are the only 2 that I've actually listened to. Now, for the other ones that have come out that I do want to share anyways, because they are from bands that I do usually enjoy: Hollow Frame by TX2, Ride or Die by Rain City Drive, New Age Cannibal by Not Enough Space, Low Files by Bring Me the Horizon, which is a lo-fi album of theirs. Hell yes, I'm excited to get to that. The Weather by All Time Low, which I'm excited to get to that too, as it not only was the single release, but they also announced that their album is coming as well. I believe it drops August. I would have to double check, but if you're subscribed to their emails, you already know. They haven't been super public about it, but it is coming. We've got an album on the way. And then Vampire Diaries by MGK. So, not a lot to share. Again, I haven't really listened to any of them, so quality aside, I don't know. But they are from artists that I do enjoy. So, thank you so much for listening. I hope that if you're able to listen to any of those things or enjoyed my rambles, just let me know again at Lights Monarch on all socials. And thank you, most importantly, for discovering the music within.